How's it going, boys? Danneh here, and in this video I'm going to run you through my top build for using a musket in big open world PvP and the 50 versus 50 territory wars. Don't forget, over on Twitch you can find me streaming pretty much every day at Danneh TV. So this musket build is primarily made for 50 versus 50 territory wars or large scale PvP. The idea is that you'll be in a scenario where you won't be focused so much because you are pretty much putting out as much damage as possible, which of course means you will die very easily if you get focused. In territory wars, a musket can be utilized really well by focusing on the siege weapons and the fire staff users who just think they can freely cast meteor shower. It is your job to drop these boys, take them off the siege and stop them free casting on your team. So let's jump into the build. I'm going to run you through all the weapon actives and passive abilities I would recommend that you take. So we'll start off on the left hand tree, the sharpshooter tree. So initially you want to take cooled shot, increase your musket damage by 15% if aimed down sight for more than 3 seconds. Then you want to be taking powder burn, which overloads your musket with gunpowder, causing the next shot to deal 110% weapon damage, and cause a burn status effect that deals 20% weapon damage per second for 9 seconds. You want to upgrade this fully, so standard musket shots deal 12% additional damage while the target is on fire, and chronic trauma. If powder burn is a headshot, extend the burn to 13 seconds. We want to be taking greater accuracy. Accuracy penalty while moving and aiming is removed. Means you can stay mobile while you're shooting these shots. Ballistic advantage removes damage fall off from standard musket shots on targets more than 50 meters away. We want to be taking empowering headshot. On successful headshot, grant empower, increasing all musket shots damage by 10% for 5 seconds. We want to be taking shooter stance as an active ability. Player enters a shooting aim stance to enhance shooting performance. While in stance, mobility is reduced to 0 and reload time is reduced by 75%. You want to upgrade this once to increase from 3 shots to 5 shots. We also want to be taking cooled shot resupply. Standard headshots reduce all musket ability cooldowns by 10%. And finally, on the sharpshooter tree, we want to take sniper. Adds an optional 3x zoom for all musket aim shots. This is fantastic for those guys sitting up high on siege, or again looking for those fire staff users casting their meteor shower. Okay, onto the trapper side. For this particular build, we won't be taking any traps. We will be taking Salt on the Wounds, 15% increased damage to targets below 30% health. Our last active ability we want to take is Stopping Power. Overload the musket with gunpowder, causing the next shot to deal 120% weapon damage, staggering the target and knocking them back 3 meters. We want to upgrade this fully, so take Lasting Impression and Supplementary Repulsion. Targets hit with Stopping Power are slowed by 10% for 8 seconds. So the last remaining passives I would recommend you take are Weakened Defense, Powering Weakness, Energy Burst, and Kick them when they're down. Okay, so let's make the assumption that you are now level 60 and you have a normal set of armor and weapons. You should have around roughly 450 attribute points to spend. Of course you may have less and of course you may have more, but let's assume you have 450, and this is how I think you should spend them. So starting with dexterity, I would put 300 points into dexterity. What this is going to give you is a 5% chance to critical hit, a 5% increase to your thrust damage. Dodges will cost 10 less stamina. You will have a 10% bonus to backstab and headshot damage. You have 10% bonus critical hit damage on stunned, slowed or rooted enemies. And finally, you have a guaranteed critical hit after a dodge roll, which can only trigger once every 10 seconds. Then we're going to stick 100 of your attribute points into intelligence. That is going to give you a plus 10% damage to light and heavy magic attacks. And finally, you're going to get a plus 10% to your critical hit damage. This is really the one that we're after. There doesn't seem to be much point in putting an extra 50 into intelligence. Even though it will scale your weapon damage a little bit, it just doesn't seem worth it for the elemental damage. So what we're going to do is finally stick our last 50 attribute points into Constitution, which will give us 20% stronger health consumables and just a little bit more health onto our character, just in case we get into a sticky situation. So there are 2 weapons that I would take as my secondaries alongside the musket, especially for these territory wars and big open world battles. The first one would be the bow, and I would take Poison Shot, Rain of Arrows, and Penetrating Shot as my 3 active abilities. And I would also recommend taking the rapier. It has some great evades should someone get close, but it also is stacked with damage. So the 3 active abilities I would take in this particular build would be evade, riposte, and flesh. So the equip load for me is a relatively simple one. I would suggest that you take the light armor. One, you get the dodge roll, which I love the dodge roll. But secondly, you get a 20% increase to your damage. This is just something you can't pass up on. So to kind of finish up here and conclude, I mentioned at the start of this build, this is primarily for territory wars and sort of similar to territory wars, big open world fights. 40 versus 40, 50 versus 50, 60 versus 60, something like that. Something where you will not be the center of attention and your main focus will be on people standing still, you know, whether they're using siege weapons or they're casting meteor shower or they're just not paying attention. What we're looking to do is get those massive headshot bonuses and just do shed loads of damage. You will of course be extremely squishy, so you will need to be aware of your surroundings and make sure that people are not sneaking up on you, people are not focusing you. Just be aware of what's going on around you. Another great idea would be to team up with one other person with a similar build to what you're running in this particular musket build. And if you could call targets and hit the same target at the same time, you would pretty much instantly kill someone or instantly down someone straight away. Remember, this is kind of an advanced build, mainly for those people that are looking to really deal lots of damage and have that good accuracy for those headshots. Yeah, that's it. That is my musket build. I really hope you enjoyed watching this. I really hope you find it useful. If you do, please think about leaving a like, leaving a subscribe, drop a comment. It'd be nice to have a chat with you about what you think about it or what you may change about it. And of course, I'll be streaming pretty much every day over on twitch.tv/DannehTV. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, boys. Take it safe. Stay safe. Stay safe, lads. See you on the next one.